Captain James stood before the Council of Seven, representatives of the most powerful species in the Galactic Alliance. His posture was relaxed despite the gravity of the situation. Earth had only recently joined the interstellar community, and already they were being called to account for their actions. Human, began Councillor Vereen, her translucent appendages rippling with agitation. Explain why your soldiers engaged in such reckless behavior during the Keldori conflict. James cleared his throat. With respect, we were following standard protocol for civilian evacuation under fire. The chamber erupted in murmurs. Councillor Tall, hulking figure with a carapace that gleamed under the chamber lights, leaned forward. Your soldiers deliberately placed themselves in harm's way. They returned to dangerous zones multiple times when safety was already achieved. No one gets left behind, James said simply. It's a core philosophy from our world. The silence that followed was profound. Commander Drell of the Araxian Legion stood abruptly. As the most feared warriors in 3 sectors, the Araxians had earned their reputation through calculated precision and overwhelming force. Impossible. Your homeworld is classified as a death world. You evolved in an environment that should have extinguished your species, yet you waste survival opportunities for sentiment. We don't see it as waste, James replied. We see it as essential. The meeting chamber of the Galactic Alliance headquarters was designed to accommodate 37 different atmospheric requirements and gravity preferences. Now it felt stifling to everyone present. Lieutenant Emma entered with data tablets, distributing them among the council. Her presence caused visible discomfort among the Araxian contingent, who had witnessed her in combat during the joint operation. These are records from Earth's military history, she explained. They demonstrate the principles Captain James mentioned. The council members scrolled through centuries of human conflict. Stories of medics who rushed into firefights to retrieve the wounded, soldiers who dove on explosives to save their comrades, pilots who stayed with damaged aircraft to ensure they didn't crash into populated areas. This behavior defies evolutionary logic, whispered Counselor Nim, whose species had evolved perfect logical processes at the cost of emotional development. A species from such a hostile environment should prioritize individual survival above all. James smiled. Perhaps it's because of our harsh world that we learn the value of cooperation. Alone, we're vulnerable. Together, we survive. Commander Drell's troops shifted uncomfortably. During the Keldori conflict, they had witnessed humans charging into burning buildings, swimming through toxic floodwaters, and standing exposed to enemy fire, all to save others, sometimes even aliens they had just met. There is more, Emma continued, advancing the presentation to Earth's philosophical texts. These are teachings that human children learn. The translations appeared. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. A society grows great when old men plant trees in whose shade they know they shall never sit. Counselor Vereen's appendages had gone completely still, a sign of deep distress in her species. These are teachings for warriors preparing for death, surely. No, James replied. These are philosophies for everyone. Firefighters, doctors, teachers, ordinary citizens. Concepts we consider basic. The Araxian warriors, genetically engineered for combat excellence and fearlessness, looked at one another in confusion. They had been unsettled by the humans since first contact, unable to categorize them properly. Humans lacked the physical advantages of most species, yet displayed a tenacity that bordered on madness. Now they understood. The humans weren't fearless. They felt fear deeply, but they acted despite it. Your species concerns us, admitted Counselor Tall finally. You come from a planet with crushing gravity, extreme temperature variations, constant natural disasters, and thousands of venomous creatures. By all accounts, you should be the most ruthless, self-preserving species we've encountered. Instead, added Nim, you demonstrate altruism that your own evolutionary scientists cannot fully explain. James looked around at the council, at the warriors who had fought alongside humans, and now regarded them with new wariness. We learned long ago that survival at any cost isn't survival at all. Our harshest environments taught us that none survive alone. Emma stepped forward. In the vacuum of space, or on the battlefield, we bring our death world philosophies with us. Not because we're fearless, but because we've learned that some things matter more than fear. The Araxian commander, whose species prided themselves on never retreating, stood rigidly. When my warriors saw your medics running toward danger rather than away, they did not understand. Now I see it is not a tactical decision, but a moral one. It's both, James corrected gently. The strongest tactical position is one where everyone knows they matter, where no one is expendable. As the council adjourned to deliberate, the Araxian warriors watched the humans with new eyes. They had come expecting to find savages from a death world, barely civilized enough for interstellar community. Instead, they found something far more unsettling, a species that had taken the brutal lessons of their home planet and transformed them into philosophies of sacrifice and service. Commander Drell approached James privately. Your kind frightens mine, he admitted. Not because of your weapons or technology, but because of these ideas. They are more dangerous than any weapon. James nodded. Ideas usually are. The Araxian warriors maintained their distance from the humans after that meeting, not from contempt, but from a kind of reverence. They had encountered many species from many worlds, but never before had they met creatures who had stared into the abyss of their own deadly planet and emerged with hope rather than mere survival. What terrified them most was the dawning realization that perhaps, in the grand calculation of evolution, the humans had found the correct answer after all.